Today is March 2nd. Today's quote is entitled, "More humility, more cooperation." If there is a gap between where you are at and where you need to be in relation to cooperation, one thing is obvious: more humility is needed. Humility is not only indispensable in becoming Krishna conscious, it is indispensable in more effectively spreading Krishna consciousness. As you know, working with other human beings can sometimes be extremely challenging. It tests our patience and it tests our humility, because sometimes people do things which we object to, which we feel are wrong, perhaps abusive, perhaps immoral, or just lack integrity in general. Or else we just totally disagree with their opinions, or we totally disagree with the way they do things, or their nature is so different from ours. They may be very controlling and we're very laissez-faire, or we're very controlling and they're very laissez-faire. So the point of this quote is to point out that when we are looking at the task or the business of cooperation, which we must always be looking at, humility is indispensable. And a lot of times what we'll try to do is we'll find reasons why we can't cooperate. And there may be valid reasons. But the point of this quote is that although there may be reasons we can't cooperate, we should understand there may be, in many of those situations, a genuine lack of humility within us. And that's the real reason. Now, sometimes circumstantially, because we have different visions or different views, it may be difficult to work with certain people. But if that causes friction in relationships, if that causes us to be offensive towards them, if it causes us to speak ill of them to others, then we should reflect on ourselves that that's a manifestation of a lack of humility. Obviously, it's not possible for everyone to work with everyone, because sometimes our natures clash, or we're both kind of doing the same thing and we both should be in charge because we're duplicating one another. So those are practical considerations. But in terms of relationship, even if we cannot get along, if that sours the relationship, if that causes us to be critical or offensive, then that's not Krishna consciousness. And then we have to reflect and say, I must be lacking humility because of the way I'm acting. That's the humble way to approach it, just be honest. And be real about where we are, and then try to work on it. That's the whole point of this quote, just to be aware that when cooperation is lacking, especially when I start becoming critical of devotees, the way they do things, how they do things, what they do, there's probably some humility missing.